Howdy, and welcome to this Life Lesson Friday episode of the Confidence Through Health podcast. Today, I want to talk about what your body does when you get nervous and when you get excited. And I deal with this a lot with people who are going into a performance, whether it's an athletic performance or like a speaking event or an interview. A lot of times we get those butterflies in our stomach, right? That those nerves start going off. And there is a very true connection between what's going on in your digestive system and what's going on in your brain and how they connect, right? The gut brain connection is very real when it comes to hormone responses and one telling the other what to do and vice versa. And they speak to each other on a very quick reactive basis. Physiologically, what's happening on the hormone and like enzyme level is almost identical, whether you're nervous or you're excited. And so, how you approach whatever it is that you're getting ready to do that is outside of your comfort zone. And so, it creates that nervous feeling, it creates that excited feeling. How you approach that and the emphasis that you put on it is totally up to you in your mind and what you decide you want to do. And from what I've seen in coaching people, if you go into it with a more nervous approach, you tend to have more mistakes. You tend to fall to that nervousness and that I don't know if this is going to go the way I want it to go type of feeling. Whereas if you go into it with the excited feeling, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to show what I know. I'm excited to live up to the best possible scenario for what I can do in this situation. You tend to have more successful outcomes. Physiologically, same thing going on in your body, right? So it tells us how much our mind is playing a factor in the results that we get. And not just that we have to think about the path and the processes in following and having the discipline and all of those things, right? Those things are true. But just our mindset going into it. Are we nervous or are we excited? Because physiologically, it's the same reaction. And so it's all in our brain, it's all in our mind as to what is going to be the outcome. Because if we go into it excited, we have a much higher chance of reaching that success because of the way that we shape our vision of what's happening in that moment. We all know if we go into it when we're nervous, when we go speaking events, we're nervous, we're going to chatter, we're going to, right? We're going to get those nerves are going to take over. And if we let them take over, that's our mind letting it happen. Because physiologically, it's the same thing as being excited. If you've ever been on a first date with somebody that you really wanted to go on a first date with, somebody that you were, nervous slash excited to ask out or to go out with, like when you're on, like it's the same. Think back to that. It's the same nervousness, the same butterflies, the same physiological reaction is when you're excited, is when you're nervous. And so when you know that, you can start to frame what's going to happen in those situations. And you can no longer be nervous, you can be excited. And when you go into things excited, you have a much better chance of coming out successful on the other side because that's an outcome that we more tend to put with the exciting things that we do. Exciting movies are fun, right? Exciting, athletic events that we go to watch are fun. Going on a date with somebody, that's exciting. Going to a concert, that's exciting. That's fun, right? We don't get nervous when we go to a concert. It's fun, it's exciting. And so when we think about the times that we might get nervous and have that physiological response, if we can change it to being, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to share what I know. I'm excited to show my performance. We tend to have a better response in the end and a better outcome in the end. So you don't have to change anything about the physiological. You don't have to be like, oh, I'm gonna calm my nerves, right? Or I'm gonna like you can't. You can't calm your nerves. Like you can put yourself out of it and not be excited to be there and not be, and you can minimize your performance and your potential. But the physiological response is going to be there. And so use it to your advantage by twisting the way that you start to see that. And that's where you can start controlling how things are going to happen in these situations. Because it's not about I'm nervous, I'm not going to want to go on stage. I'm not going to want to, talk to these 100 people that are sitting out here. I'm not going to like, no, but go in and go like, I'm excited to talk to these people. It's the same physiological response. It's what you're doing in your mind. It's changing your outcome and your perception of what's going on. And you're going to do better. You will calm yourself, but it's not calming your nerves. It's changing the way you perceive the physiological response that's happening in your body. So whether you want to be nervous or excited, I would choose excited. The response is the same. The perception is in your head and in your mind of what you're going to do with that. Change the perception and you can change the outcomes. So that's your Life Lesson Friday for this episode of the Confidence Through Health podcast.